Evergreen, Everfree, written by Blair Galt. Incredible introductions, Gummy. Are you down there? Pinky continued to call for her pet down the mine shaft. She asked variations this question for a few minutes, tilting her head every few questions or so to get a better look. While she did manage to get the attention of a few spiders, her treasured cold-blooded friend was nowhere to be found. Eventually deciding that her valued pet was indeed not in the hole, she pulled her head and looked at the two strange creatures she had met when she first tumbled out. They were too shocked at first to answer where her pet might have gone, but they seemed to have recovered somewhat. The male-looking one held some kind of thick book under Harold's arms. He had scales with claws to speak of and almost seemed to be studying her. Eggheads came in all sizes, she guessed. The other one seemed to be the female variety of the species, and the same size as the male. She was wearing a light blue, and very oversized, sweater with a picture of a pink bow in the middle. Unlike the suspicious stare of the other alien, this was looking at her with awe. It stepped forward, its eyes still huge with wonder. Oh my gosh. It suddenly lurched forward and snuggled her. You're adorable. The male lifted a finger. Mabel, you don't even know what that thing is. It could be a monster or an alien or some eldritch. Mabel let go and frowned at her brother, Dipper. Don't you know a magic horse when you see one? Pinky raised a hoof. Actually, I'm a pony. Even better. Pinky clasped her face. Amiguish. I didn't even introduce myself. She pulled a kazoo out from behind her, blowing a note before breaking out in dancing song. Hello. 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 My name is Pinkie Pie. I'm so very glad to meet you both, of this I can't deny. We'll have so much fun together, just you wait and see. And even though I have no idea where I am or what Gummy is and I'm probably lost forever, I can definitely say that our friendship was meant to be. She finished her song with a power slide, breathing heavily before the two twins. I'd normally be covered in cape batter at this part. Oh well. Mabel was overcome with emotion and sat down with tears in eyes. That was beautiful. Dipper nodded. I gotta admit, it was impressive. Mabel snapped out of her amazement and grabbed Pinky, pressing the pony's eyes against hers. Waddles. Did you see Waddles down there? I saw a pig. He didn't look like he was having fun. Wait, Dipper interjected. Where did you see Waddles? Pinky pointed toward the well. In there, I think. I fell down a well in the Everfree forest. And Waddles fell down the shaft here. If you came at this end, Waddles must have come at the other. Mabel looked between the two. So Waddles probably came at the other end of wherever the hole leads. Mabel immediately began stomping toward the shaft before Dipper stopped her. Wait. The book says either side of the hole can only transport stuff once every day or so. No Waddles. Not until tomorrow, at least. Mabel relaxed. At least I know where he is. He'll stay put until we rescue him. Pinky pointed toward the shaft. The other side of the hole is in the Everfree forest. There's a lot of dangerous stuff there. Mabel dismissed Pinky's concerns. Waddles knows how to take care of himself. He'll probably protect your alligator too. He's a tough pig, she said before raising a mighty fist and a thunderclap sounded out of nowhere. A warrior pig. Anyway, Dipper interrupted. Welcome to Gravity Falls, Pinkie Pie. Yep. I'm Dipper, and this is my sister Mabel. Mabel came up to Pinky, grabbed her hooves, and began to jump. We're gonna have so much fun. We can go fishing, or annoy Grunkle Stan, or play video games, or eat candy until we barf. Ooh. I like that last one. Dipper smiled. This pony thing seemed harmless enough as it hadn't tried to kill them so far. Heck, it even seemed kinda friendly. Mabel continued to rattle off activities when Suze emerged from the trees, calling for them. Mabel? Dipper? Where are you guys? Okay, I'll make it simple. 1 scream for you got eaten by bears, and 2 screams for you got horribly mauled by werewolves. Dipper waved his arms. We're over here, Suze. How did they escape the bears? Suze asked himself as he walked over to the twins, who had a strange and colorful new companion with them. Hey guys. What's that? Looks like some kinda camel. I'm a pony. She's a pony. Mabel affirmed with hands on her hips. Suze picked up Pinky by one of her hind legs and investigated her closely. The equine didn't mind at all, laughing as the men poked her sides to check her authenticity. Where, you're really light. Are you made out of marshmallows or something? Just 120% Pinkie Pie. Suze let her go. Works for me. We should probably head back to the shack. Your friend coming with? Mabel and Pinky nodded and both bounced behind Suze as they traveled to the mystery shack, with Dipper alongside them. On the way, Pinky got filled in on the strange new land she was in by Dipper. I'm where? Gravity Falls, Oregon. We're in somebody's organs. No. Oregon's a state. Oh yeah? States are a part of the USA. What's the USA? The United States of America. It's a country. You're in it right now. Eh? Do you have a princess? No. Why not? We just don't. Mabel jumped. Ooh. Ooh. I could be the princess. I'm already a congressman. I'd vote for her, Sue said. We don't vote for princesses. Wait, what's a congressman? Dipper was saved from a political argument when the mystery shack appeared in front of the thick pines. Grunkle Stan was in the front yard, apparently getting ready to ignite one of the rockets. As they drew nearer, Mabel whispered to Pinkie Pie. PSSST. Ponies don't normally talk around here. You might want to do the dumb animal routine. Pinkie responded with a motion of zipping her lips and a wink, and the laughing of Grunkle Stan washed over the gang as they approached him. As they drew closer, they realized that Stan wasn't trying to light the rocket, but was attaching something to it. Something struggling and snarling. It was none other than Lil Gideon, now firmly attached to a rocket with several bands of duct tape. Come on, Gideon. You tried to sneak into my house under the cover of fireworks thing last year. Under strain, Gideon responded. And I almost got in this time, too. You're letting your guard down, Stanford. Yeah, Stan grumbled before he set the rocket on its side and kicked it. The rocket careened through the air, kicking up a plume of dirt as it hit the ground and rolled down the dirt road leading to the shack. Gideon's voice cried out as it rolled away, interrupted every time his face rolled to the bottom and hit the ground. Could you see your Stanford appearance? Stan dusted off his hands before turning to the group. Crazy little munchkin. Oh hey. Did you catch Wendell? Oh, he's around. Mabel said and patted Pinkie on the back. In the meantime, we found a pony. Pinkie whinnied in a perfect imitation of a horse, her pupils now wide and brainless. Huh. Looks like some kind of camel. Okay, have fun. Don't let it go on the carpet, Stan grunted as he returned to his grill and started using a turkey baster to drip gasoline into the fire inside. All four of them went inside the shack, and as soon as they were in the door, Pinkie returned to normal. What should beat it first? Mabel asked Pinkie. Video games, answered Suze. Candy, answered Pinkie Pie. Let's do both, Mabel said. Suze looked shocked. You're an egg woman, Mabel. That's why you're the brains of this operation. All three of them celebrated by cheering and ran into the living room. The sounds of crunching candy and exploding aliens soon put out of it. Dipper stepped outside for a moment to check on Grunkle Stan. He didn't want to have to explain why their new pet could talk. As luck would have it, Stan had fallen asleep at the grill, his snore smothered by the cracking of burning bacon. He probably wouldn't be awake for another few hours or until the grill caught fire. With the threat of discovery minimal, Dipper went into the living room to read, at the same time keeping a close eye on Pinkie Pie. She seemed nice, but he didn't trust her completely just yet. As the bright pink space marine that Pinkie had chosen as her arbiter slew another green-skinned monster, Dipper decided to ask a few questions. After all, Pinkie had done the same to him. So Pinkie, where are you from? Pinkie somehow managed to keep playing the game with the same skill as she turned to Dipper to answer him. Equestria. And you came here by yourself? Yep. And nobody sent you? Not unless you count me. Her answers did seem sincere, and Dipper's fears that she might be some kind of spy were dampened somewhat. Dipper had no more questions and let Pinkie return to her game with Suze and Mabel. Sue's overweight yet heavily armored character had fallen early in battle from a stray spaceship landed on him, leaving Mabel's yellow-clad soldier with a kitten helmet and Pinkie's pink trooper to finish the job. They fought valiantly, crushing all the Xenos in their path until they came face to face with the final boss, a space warrior like them but covered in black spikes and a deathly aura. "Ah man, me and Dipper never got this far," exclaimed Mabel as she and Pinkie did their best to slay that chaotic monster. "For Doc Granduke," Pinkie's space marine exclaimed as he charged with his chainsaw rifle before the final boss nonchalantly vaporized him, turning the once proud Intamin into a pile of ashes. "Cleanse all X," Mabel's character managed to utter before he too was obliterated by a black hole being summoned in front of him. "You lose," a cheery taunting voice told them, with bloody text overlay on a screen that said the same. The television screen then exploded, leaving all four of them staring at a smoking piece of electronic equipment. Mabel stood up and dropped her controller. That game cheated anyway. "Come on Pinkie, let's go of Ultra Adventures." "Yes," Pinkie shouted in agreement, and they both bolted out the back door to unleash untold mayhem upon Gravity Falls. Suze had already knocked himself into a candy coma, so Dipper was left in peace to read his book. Now if he could only figure out where Equestria was. Pinky and Mabel jumped around on the springy mattresses of the Mattress Kingdom, occasionally passing each other and high-fiving in midair. They both laughed and giggled as they performed increasingly complex stunts, and Mabel had disregarded her own advice and freely talked with Pinkie Pie, each of them daring each other to do one stunt or another. The lowly mascot of the place ran around in futility trying to stop them, slowed down by his cumbersome king costume. He did almost manage to catch Mabel when Pinkie bounced off his head, sending him against a stack of mattresses still awaiting storage. Like a gruesome game of Jenga, the footings all shook and began tumbling down top of him. Only a single shaking hand stuck out of the pile as his cries for help were muffled by the bedding. "What?" Pinkie said, continuing our sentence on the next jump. "Now?" Mabel thought about their next destination, taking on very introspective poses at each high mark of her hops before she had a solution. "I know. The city dump." Pinkie got off the mattress and took position as Mabel flipped several times off hers and landed on the pony's back. She then snatched the scepter next to the buried employee and pointed it ahead. "For fun," Mabel declared, and Pinkie reared and ran out of the store with her friend in tow. And Pinkie galloped down the street. A thought occurred to Mabel. Pinkie had mentioned Gummy, which she assumed was her pet or friend of some sort. "Pinkie?" Mabel asked, and Pink's head rotated like an owl. "Yeah? Aren't you worried about Gummy?" "No, he's okay. I didn't feel it at first, but my Pinkie sense tells me he's alright." As if on cue, her tail twitched. A potted plant fell out of the sky and hit Robbie square on the head as he was crossing the street. It twitched again and another potted plant appeared out of nowhere, which headed straight for Manly Dan as he was exiting the bar. Just as it was about to hit him, he swiftly grabbed it and crushed between his massive fingers, dust slowly floating out the bottom of his clenched fist. Nobody sneaks up on Manly Dan. Not even plants. Manly Dan roared. Why did Pinkie have to choose today of all days to go missing? Twilight screamed in her jail cell. She buried her face in her hoods as Applejack tried to comfort her. Now Tilly, there's no way even Pinkie could have known that Queen Chrysalis and King Sembra would have come back at the same time, and Discord would join them. It's just, if we had all the elements, we could have stopped them. A magical chain-bound Princess Celestia shook her head. Even the elements wouldn't have saved us, Twilight. Our only hope now is, all the ponies in the cell paused as they heard sings of struggle above them, and a loud clunk. A changeling with a knot on his head rolled down the stairs. A halo of light seemed to appear around the familiar pig as he walked down the staircase. Waddles. All the ponies cried in unison. Waddles carried the keyring in his mouth, and with an Yankee jumped up and unlocked their cell door. The magical barriers around the cell shattered. Celestia's chains untied themselves and fell to the floor with a rattle. Not wasting a moment, they all ran up the stairs with Waddles leading them. Gummy, in the meantime, was busy chewing on the cold changeling's head. It didn't bother him that Waddles was receiving all the credit for their quest. As long as he had someone to follow and heads to bite, he was happy. By the time they had arrived at the dump, Suze had woken back up and joined them on their quest for merriment. Mabel quickly assembled a fake racer crafted together from discarded sheet metal and car parts. She provided her own sound effects as she steered the craft bowl that acted as the steering wheel. Suze provided commentary using an old cup as a microphone. And then first his car a crowd favorite. Mabel Mad Dog Pines has absolutely dominated the racing scene this year, coming in first in every competition she's entered, and in a few she didn't. She is now 50 laps ahead of every other racer, and it looks like this is going to be another easy victory for what's this? Pinkie Pie galloped up beside the stationary pretend racer and ran in place alongside it. I don't believe it, folks. Pinkie Reddish-White Pie had broken out of the pack and is now threatening to overtake the lead. Pinkie slowly moved forward and backwards while still maintaining the same galloping speed, creating the simulation of a hotly contested competition. It's Pinkie Pie. It's Mabel. Pinkie. Mabel. Pink. Mabe. Suze cried, now on the edge of his seat. He jumped off and grabbed the finish line, which was an old 2x4 with black and white squares painted on it. With the cup still in his hand he sat the board in front of the two as he continued to announce, I've never seen anything like it, folks. It's gonna be a photo finish. Mabel got up from her car and dove toward the board, and Pinkie did the same. When the dust settled, Suze closely inspected Mabel's hands and Pinkie's hooves to see who was farther over the line. After some deliberation he lifted both of them. It's a tie. That means we'd both win. Pinkie cheered. Still held up by Suze, Mabel pointed towards another part of the town. Let's go to the park. I'll race you there. Suze let go of both of them, but Pinkie seemed hesitant to go. Only race. With our eyes closed. You won. They both took off, slamming into the set of buildings and trees all the way there. As they stumbled through town, a vengeful eye watched them. "So, Maple Pines," Lil Gideon hissed in his genteel southern drawl as he observed them through his telescope, "you found yourself a Lil L pony friend, instead of Lil L me." He looked towards his Open 2, which had 2 pages showing various drawings and diagrams of ponies that looked very similar to the kinds of ponies from Equestria. "I think that Miss Pie has overstayed her welcome. She's given you far too much attention that I rightly should be lavishing. It'd be a shame if she had competition." With that, he cackled like a madman. He stopped when the door to his room opened and his father peeped his head inside. "Gideon," he asked innocently, "would you like an apple pie?" "Yes, father." But closed the door, and Gideon resumed his evil laughter. "Thanks."